Hello and welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I am one of your hosts, the younger one, Delia, and I'm here with my real tight homegirl, Beatrice. She happens to also be my daughter-in-law.
Your favorite daughter-in-law,
Oh my gosh, how are you doing today, babes?
Girl, I'm here. It was my first day back at work after Thanksgiving break,
Oh, Lord.
which is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Because this should be my full-time job. Not that other shit.
Why don't they allow people to take a vacation from Thanksgiving to New Year's so that we can properly celebrate? I don't get it. It seems really unfair.
It seems very offensive to me.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Because we got shit to talk about, girl.
Yeah, we do.
In this episode, we're going to be getting into Welcome to Plathville, catching you up, and then talking about the most recent episode. And of course, 90 Day Fiancé, which is
that
crazy.
trash fire.
Very much so. And I love it.
Oh, me too, girl.
But before we get into it, we just want to give you the disclaimer, baby. Hide your wife, hide your kids.
Yeah.
This is a politically incorrect podcast. We are vulgar, debaucherous, and unapologetic, baby.
Yeah.
And so if you're so and you need your fifis massaged, this is not the dumpster for you. Go find somewhere else to hang out. This is for the feral raccoons. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Also, we got an Instagram at Reality TV Cringe. Go follow us there. If you're not by now, I'm offended.
We're almost at 5,000 followers on Instagram.
We're fucking famous.
We need to start dancing on the internet.
Girl, we should twerk. Or I should twerk.
She's the one with the booty. I don't got the juicy booty. You got the booty, girl. You need to show these people what you're working with.
Maybe it should be Patreon. Just
Patreon, only just twerking. I love it.
And speaking of Patreon, we have one. Patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe. We're covering a lot of bonus shows up on there. Love After Lockup, John and 8 plus Kate, Welcome to Plathville Rewinds. There's so much shit up on there. So go subscribe.
Gypsy Sisters, you always leave them out. You hate those hoes.
I know, I love them.
They're like some of my favorite.
They're so
I
fucking
wish
trashy.
that show never left the television.
There's a lot of seasons that we have to cover for that.
I think there's only 4 or 5 seasons, but there's a lot of the Gypsy Sisters weddings.
Yes,
oh my God,
girl.
it's gonna be so good. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and comment and share and definitely subscribe.
Yes.
Because every little thing you do is magic and it helps us to grow in the dumpster.
Thank you.
Thank you in advance. Okay, without further ado, let's do a real quick recap for Welcome to Plathville. So some of you may have watched last week. Maybe some of you were waiting for us to come on the scene. But last week on Plathville, right before Thanksgiving, we see that things are kind of starting to turn sour for Kim and Barry, even more sour than they already were. Like they're trying to have a negotiation or a conversation and Kim won't even go into the house and talk to Barry.
So weird.
She like calls him on the phone when she's like 50 feet away from him outside.
Embarrassing.
So she's pissed, and I think he's pissed, even though he's trying not to be pissed. I think everybody's unhappy.
Yes.
We also see the boys' trip start. We've got Micah and Isaac and Barry, and ultimately Ethan going over to Los Angeles to just spend some time together, a bromance, a bro trip. We love it.
Yeah.
And then the most riveting and fascinating part was Ethan and Olivia talking in their kitchen about the state of their marital affairs. And as it turns out, it's not so great, Beatrice.
No, it is definitely not great.
Not good. And the long and the short of it is that Ethan really wants Olivia to return to her fundamental fundy core values. That's what he's looking for. And Olivia needs Ethan to understand that she got married when she was young.
Yeah.
She left her papa's house in an indoctrinated family situation, moved right in with him, and it was her opportunity to grow. And so she's grown, she's changing, and that should be okay. Yeah. Well, it ain't okay with Ethan, honey.
No, and I mean, she hasn't grown in the most positive ways. Let's just be real on that. But I see both sides of them. I understand Ethan's perspective. I kind of understand Olivia's perspective, but I'm just like, God, just break up already. And I'm glad they have.
Yeah, but this is their first love.
Yeah.
And
so it's hard.
It's very difficult. And they don't know life outside of themselves other than back in their family situation.
Right.
And so I can imagine it's really horrible and hard to think about losing it all, changing it up, and starting something new. And even though I think Olivia has been unhappy for a while and has been orchestrating drama throughout the seasons we've been watching,
no cap,
I think that she's afraid to leave Ethan for the unknown. But is about to go down.
Oh, yeah.
It is about to go down.
We're about to see it.
So now that you're caught up, let's get into the most recent. Is my wig straight? Girl?
Yeah, it's
because
straight.
I feel like it's falling off my head.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, I need you to check me
I'm
if I'm
checking.
looking wild
I'll
out
let
here
you
in these
know.
raccoon streets, Beatrice. Don't do that to me, honey. Okay, we open up with Welcome to Plathville, Season 5, Episode 13, entitled, If I Lose Mine Honor, I Lose Myself.
Whoever wrote these episode titles
Called Shakespeare.
needs to be fired.
Shakespeare wrote them.
I just don't understand why we have to do Shakespeare.
I don't want to have
Why?
to use an abacus to try and figure out why this title connects to the shit I'm about to watch. It
Doesn't make any sense.
at all. Anyway, we start with the boys in Los Angeles.
Malibu.
In Malibu, sorry. That's different, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Whatever. So they're in Malibu. And again, we have Barry, Isaac, Ethan, and Micah. Micah wants to take everybody surfing, even though
Yeah.
it looks like a cold, windswept day in Malibu, honey.
Ugh.
And even Barry's like, this water is below 60.
Yeah, it's the Pacific Ocean.
I could die. I could get hypothermic out here.
Jeez.
Ethan doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't want to put on the wetsuit. He doesn't want to get in the water. He's just kvetching and bitching. And I'm like, God, you're a bummer. You're a storm cloud of lameness.
He's like 23 and already acting like a 75-year-old stubborn old man.
I know what I like.
I know.
I don't like to not do what I like.
Do you think he's like that in bed too?
I just feel like there's some freaky deaky. I think he likes to eat the box.
Yeah?
Oh, come on, eat the box. I know you want to eat this box. I think he does like that. And I think him and Olivia get down. That's one of the reasons it's probably taken him a while to walk away.
Yeah, probably. And same thing with her. I mean, I don't know how good it can be though with Ethan Plath. If he was a virgin when they first met and stuff, I feel like it'd be like 2 pumps and done, you know?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, but they would experiment. And remember, she was talking about watching lesbian porn.
Yeah, that's true.
And so they probably watched porn.
You think they used butt plugs?
Oh, God, I think they probably had toys because she brought out the butt plug for her brother-in-law or whoever that dweeb was.
That was weird.
I just feel like they're more freaky than they let on. So Ethan's bitching and he's moaning. He ultimately gets his wetsuit on and they all go surfing and nobody gets up on the board.
Yeah.
I'm from Hawaii.
Yeah.
From a surfing culture.
I was
I'm
thinking about you watching
y'all
this.
are so lame. I'm very embarrassed for you. And they're barreling into other surfers. Their etiquette on the water is terrible. But I'm like,
the waves
whatever.
are literally like, ooh. It's not even an actual wave.
Not that big of a deal. As they're surfing and having fun, and my wig is slipping.
Now it's slipping, yeah.
Now it's slipping. We bop on over to Lydia, and she and her 3 younger sisters are heading to Nashville, baby. Music City, Nashville, because Lydia has a song to sing for Jesus.
Look, and God bless her. God bless Mariah. You know, I'm proud of them for following their dreams and their passions for music.
Are
There's
you?
nothing wrong.
I don't feel like you're proud
There's
of them.
nothing wrong with loving music and loving to create music that sounds good to you. However, whoever is telling Lydia and Mariah that they can sing and that they should record whole ass albums and have it filmed for TLC and broadcasted across the nation, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
Well, I think Lydia will probably get a bit more grace because it's a Christian/gospel album and those people don't care as much.
Yeah.
And I think Mariah's music is also Christian, but it's also...
it's like flyleafy, but
it's
like
very
not good.
flyleafy, Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
But it's also about her inner turmoil and her walk on this planet, which has been so hard. And she's a forgiven rebel. And she wants to sing about it and tell stories from this dark
As
place.
a 12-year-old girl,
Listen,
I'm just like, stop.
We're about to get to Mariah. We do hear Lydia, though, singing, and
I'll carry you.
I'll carry you.
I'll carry you.
And the way she pushes that voice out of her chest, girl, I'm just like, wow, God bless it. I love your passion and your commitment, Lydia.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Good on you. I wish I had the confidence to do that on national TV. Props. But oh my God, it was so cringy though.
And then we go to Tampa, Florida, where the other sister, Mariah, is also fancying herself a songbird. She goes
in the
into
recording studio.
the local recording studio where these two middle-aged guys are like, okay, bitch, that's fine. You're paying us, right? Like, we'll mix your shit. We'll produce it for you. They were.
They were like, yeah, it's really good. Oh, I didn't know the meaning of your song, but like, that's really cool. Okay, let's record it.
Yeah, because nobody cares. In real life, nobody cares, Mariah.
Nobody cares.
And then I hear the first few bars and it's morose. It is depressing. It is dark. And I'm like, oh, here we go with this.
I'm not
bitch.
playing these games. Just kidding.
The song is called Circus. And when I tell you, I was Googling all over the place up on the Instagram looking for the lyrics to this song because it's about Olivia.
Yeah.
And also allegedly about the last year of her life, which has been so very difficult. And of course, she's returned to Christ and wants to talk about it. My wig feels out of control.
It's not bad. It's just on the forehead. Go.
And so I want to see these lyrics.
I know.
And I want to hear this full song. And this, I think, is an opportunity for us to critique another song, but it'll have to be on Patreon because those bitches will strike us.
We have to listen to the whole fucking thing.
Yes.
And critique it on Patreon because it comes out this Friday. Fucking Mariah on her Instagram is like, I'm just so excited for everyone to hear this song because it's deeply personal. It's about my life.
Nobody
and I wrote it at a really hard time in my life.
I mean, you're so
Every song.
self-absorbed.
I know.
Everybody's going through something, Mariah. You privileged little twit.
I know.
We've all got something. I'm not out here just barfing it all over the national consciousness on television in all my all black clothing and my fucking white purple hair. I can't with her. Can we talk about how she dresses?
It's so gothic. It's weird.
Yeah, she's really in a phase. It's like her lips are so red. Mm-hmm. Her eye makeup is minimal. Her hair is like that ashy blonde that looks like a little bit purpley. It looks very damaged and crimped.
I know.
To the gods. And then she's always wearing something black. In her confessional, she's in that black dress thing. In this, she's got a long skirt down to her ankles and a black. She just looks like a vampire.
It's a
Cheer the fuck up. You're young and beautiful. You ballroom dance. You're a bartender. This is the time of your life. Why are we fucking crying and writing songs about Olivia called Circus?
Maybe she's going through her emo phase. Like I went through that when I was in 7th grade. I wore all black all the time. Dyed my hair jet black. I was like,
oh my God, are there pictures?
Yeah, there are.
Can we show the patrons?
Yeah, maybe.
I would love that for me.
It was pretty bad. Dark jet black hair. I looked like a vampire and I was pasty white because I was living up in Oregon where we get no sun.
And you were thinking you were working it, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I look so fucking cool right now.
Just a little storm cloud of doom, but sexy. Yeah. I get it. I love that. So the song again is called Circus. And we hear some of the lyrics, which sound like Olivia's the circus master.
Yeah.
What are those called? Conductors or something like that. And Mariah's the clown who gets sent out to do Olivia's bidding. And the end of the song is her saying something like, there's a fire in the circus and I hope it doesn't rain.
I know.
Burn it to the ground, Jesus, because I'm no longer your clown, bitch. It's like, how dramatic. How much residence is Olivia taking up in your spirit?
I mean, legit, it would have looked so much better if you just shut the fuck up about Olivia or like said this song was about something other than her.
Right.
Because now it just makes you look stupid. And like,
yes.
I've been on Mariah's side for most of this with Olivia because I don't like Olivia. And now I'm like, ugh.
I don't like Mariah that much either.
This is cringe, Mariah. Like, she's so young and stupid.
Yeah, she doesn't get it. No. She's going to look back and she's going to be horrified at what she put out there for all of us to consume. And also, I think Olivia is just going to be like, yeah, bitch.
She's going to laugh about it.
Living rent-free in your head.
Yep.
She does say in this segment that she loves Olivia, that she's kind of over the hurt and the drama, and that she's also taking responsibility for the shit that she did to her family and otherwise, which I said, well, that's good.
I like to see that. I'm glad that she's at least maturing a little bit in that regard and not being super self-absorbed and blaming Olivia for 100% everything. So that's nice to see. But why are you writing a song about her and producing it? Though,
right. And then choosing this song to do on the show that she's going to hear. So it's like, drama.
Embarrassing.
In the next segment, honey, we go to Crawfordsville, Florida, where Ken Palmer, who, by the way, is the guy that Kim is fucking and is being an adulterous whore with.
I don't get it.
He has a log cabin, which I guess is kind of big. And so Kim has jaunted on down to Florida. They're cooking steak and asparagus. And she's like, I'm so in love.
Oh my God.
When I come over here, he brings me water. He cares about me. And when I'm sitting down and I have a chill, he gets me a blanket. I've never known love like this before.
It's the little things.
God.
Cringe as fuck. It's just like Christine from Sister Wives.
Yes.
Talking about this is the love of my life, the first man you've been with after your 30+ year marriage. It's like, calm down a little bit.
Yep.
Calm
Test
down.
the waters out there. There's a lot of guys. I don't know if you could get them.
Well,
I don't know if you could.
I feel like she could do a little bit better than Ken Palmer.
Well, maybe he's a very accomplished man.
Maybe he's got a big dick.
Maybe he's got a great big fucking hog of a dick. But I can't understand him. And I don't mean to be insensitive, honestly. But like, I don't know if he's had maybe like Bell's palsy or if he's had a series of strokes. But I cannot understand him when he speaks. His eyes don't fully open. And I'm like, are you on drugs? What's happening
He's
here?
like slurring his words too.
Is he a drunk?
I don't know. It could be.
Because we know Kim flipped her fucking car in that DUI. And that was down in Florida, wasn't it? Or was it in Georgia?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. So I'm wondering if they're like enabling alcoholics.
Maybe. I could see that. Because otherwise I'm just like, why Ken Palmer? You know what I mean? Like, Barry is looking yoked.
Right.
He's got the Riz. He's got
The drip.
chains. He's got the drip. He's looking fly. And if he just shaved his head and grew a beard, like we always say, he'd be one hot tamale.
I wouldn't go that far, sweetie.
Well, I feel like he would. Compared to Ken Palmer.
You're a lesbian. You don't get it.
Yes, I can.
I mean, he's just like, but compared to Ken Palmer.
That's what I'm saying.
Compared to Kim
If
Palmer.
they were the only two men left on Earth,
Absolutely.
you would pick Barry.
I would pick Barry.
Yes.
But I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it at all. But I would pick him. But I don't understand what the attraction is. But like, it is not for me to say. There must be something there for Kim to be able to chuck her 25-year marriage and disappoint all of her children and get DUIs and shit. So I guess it's good. It's good for her.
I guess so.
And while we're there having dinner, and I'm not going to say what I want to say. While we're there having dinner and they're kissing, he says, look, I've got a spare room. I've got a lot of spare rooms in my big log cabin, baby. And so if you want to move into one to maybe help with your financial situation, I'd be open to that.
And she's like, wow. So she must be struggling financially, though, then, if he's saying that to her. Like, oh, it would help you with your financial situation. I'm wondering how they have been divvying up the assets.
Yeah, I don't know if they're there yet. I think we're getting there next week when they're fighting over the Lionel
yes.
train set and stuff like that. But there must be something going on with that. But I'm like, you're inviting me into your spare room.
I know. Like, what is that about?
Is that just for propriety's sake? Like, we're just going to be roomies?
Yeah.
We're not actually going to be fucking out in the master bedroom, honey? Come on.
But he says, like, will you move in with me? Just in my spare room.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got a bunch of other bitches.
Honey, I'm just
kidding.
not feeling any of it.
I know.
And Kim is an awful person to do this to her entire family for this guy who makes racist Facebook posts. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring it up every fucking single time. Like, I looked at the posts and he was saying some super turbo, not vague, racist shit on his Facebook.
God,
and I'm like,
really?
okay, Kim, so then do you co-sign that?
She probably
Is that who you
does.
are? You're a hypocrite. I do know that.
I just think it's crazy. And her to be like, I got to think about it. And I'm like, you're going to move in with him.
Right.
Though.
This is all just for us.
Yeah. So it's just really frustrating to see her do this because her kids just found out that you're dating this guy. And now what? 2 weeks later, you're going to move in with him? Ridiculous.
Can you look up on your phone how far away Crawfordsville, Florida is from Cairo, Georgia?
Let's look it up. It's an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's not that far away because
No.
I'm just wondering about Mercy and Cassia
Right.
and Amber because they're getting homeschooled, presumably by Kim.
Right.
And so if she moves an hour and 10 minutes away, who's going to be homeschooling these kids? Is she going to want those kids to live with her and Ken?
I mean, I don't know if Barry would be okay with that. So is Barry also going to have to transport these kids each way every time? And like, then is she going to use the distance as justification for more time with the kids, leaving Barry to be, you know, the single dad that only gets to see them once a month or something?
Right.
I don't know. But I mean, I know Barry goes to Florida for work, so maybe it's just normal for them.
I don't know. I'm just concerned. And I'm like, who is homeschooling these kids? Because we know what a lax job she did with Ethan, Micah, and Mariah. Like, now that she's out of the house 50% of the time, or the kids are with her 50% of the time, like, who's educating these children? I guess you sign on to like some computer portal to go through your classwork. But like, she's being an absentee parent.
Oh, 100%. And
it's
selfish
really gross.
AF.
Totally selfish.
That's what just pisses me off with Kim. It's like she's only caring about her happiness. And this is why she says in the previous episodes, like, oh, well, if my kids don't like Ken, then they just got to deal with it. They just got to suck it up. So if they don't like that you're moving in with him before marriage, are you going to tell him to suck it up too?
Before divorce, honey.
Girl.
This is all just performance. She's already made the decision, and she's probably already living with Ken Palmer. This is just for the TV timeline, which doesn't represent actually what happened.
Yeah.
Which is even grosser than I thought she could be.
Yeah.
After this, we don't have to see her again for the rest of the episode,
Thank
which
God.
makes me very happy. We go back to Los Angeles, and Micah is starting to grill some stuff up for dinner. And this is when Barry and Ethan go and sit in a separate room and kind of just check in with each other. Barry's like, how are you doing? How are you and Olivia doing? Ethan is not a communicative person, so he doesn't really divulge much. But Ethan does ask his dad, like, how do you deal with the energy, the depression, the feelings around your divorce with mom? Like, how do you take care of yourself?
And Barry's just like, I just don't allow myself to be depressed.
I don't feel.
I don't feel
Beep, boop, bop, Barry.
I put it in a specific compartment in my brain and I forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's real helpful, Barry.
Well, I think when you are in an acute time in your life where all you have time and energy to do is to take care of the people around you and the situation, like sometimes that's what you have to default to. Like, I can't feel that fully right now. I just got to take care of business.
Yeah.
But at some point, you're going to have to sit in your feelings and you're going to have to deal with them. You can't run away from them forever.
No, you cannot.
Which I think he wants to do because he's just like Ethan.
Yep.
And Ethan is not a communicative person. He doesn't know how to hash things out. He doesn't want to sit in his feelings or be stressed out about any drama.
Nope.
Ever. So they start talking about Ethan's conflict. He's wanting at this point to reconcile his relationship with Olivia. There's some things that are really wrong that he hopes can kind of get back on track, but he doesn't know if it's going to work. And specifically, the problems that he enumerates are worldview, politics, and beliefs.
AKA, he's turbo conservative,
Trump,
and turbo Christian, and she's probably turbo liberal and turbo anti-religion at this point. So of course they're not going to meet or find a middle ground at all because they differ so wholeheartedly. And again, that's fine. Like, Olivia and Ethan should break up to find people who do align with their values. There's nothing wrong with that. I am very glad that they haven't decided to have kids in this marriage at all because that would have made everything way messier. At least they can just be divorced and move on.
Right.
But I don't know. I only see from one side, which is Ethan's side, the willingness to actually try to make it work and try to compromise and figure out a solution. I don't think Olivia wants a solution. I think she's using this as an excuse to leave him, which is fine. Just be honest about it. Don't act like you want this marriage to work when you're fucking in Florence, Italy.
Yeah, which she is acting like that.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I know that a lot of people on Reddit are calling Ethan MAGA and calling, therefore, Ethan homophobic and Ethan racist, which I think is really distasteful.
Agreed.
Like, we don't know that about him definitively, so we shouldn't be out here saying that. It is heavily implied, though, that that's probably where his political bent is.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like they could try to work things out if they both were willing to compromise on things. But that's the problem. Ethan is not willing to change because he wants to stay in his comfort zone.
Right.
But Olivia's the same fucking way.
Right.
She doesn't want to change or compromise at all. She wants Ethan to believe what she believes.
What can she compromise, though? Like, she's not going to compromise her faith because she considers herself no longer indoctrinated into the fundamentalist Christian faith. She's not going to compromise her politics because she's progressive and She's probably pro LGBTQIA plus. She's not going to change those things, nor should she have to.
No. I don't mean like compromise in terms of her views or her beliefs, but like compromise with your husband and allow him to have a different perspective than you. There's nothing wrong with teaching your children two different perspectives or multiple perspectives. You can still have a family life where your kids grow up believing what they want to believe. And this is probably where Ethan needs to compromise because the way that Olivia tells it, he wants to indoctrinate their children into believing what he believes. Now, I don't know how true that is from Olivia's perspective because she wants to throw him under the bus and vilify him. However, if they could both come to some kind of mutual understanding about that and be like, okay, we'll just teach our kids what we believe and they can decide. That's fine. Then they could probably make it work. But they don't want to do that. Neither one wants to do that.
Yeah. I don't think Ethan is willing to budge either on his tenets. He wants to raise his kids as Christians. He wants them to be in the church and he's not going to waver on that. And he doesn't feel that he should. And he also says, look, I married you when you believe that too. So this is unfair to me.
Yeah.
Which I can see his point, but it's not because people grow up.
And they change.
At some point, Barry asks Ethan if there's a way to repair this relationship, which is when Ethan says that he could probably be a better communicator. He admits that he has a problem in this area. And this is where we hear Barry say, yeah, I was the same way when I was your age and yesterday. And then Ethan confirms on the couch saying, yeah, like my dad was not a good communicator. Like during my whole childhood, he just never really talked to us.
Yeah, I was actually very happy to hear this kind of self-reflection from Barry and acknowledgement for his faults in his marriage too, because he also talks about how there was a lot of things he could have done differently and he could have been more attentive to Kim's needs. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that you're acknowledging that and not trying to act like she came out of pocket with saying these things about you. Now, did Kim handle the breakup well?
No.
And did she leave in a dignified manner? No. But Barry did make some mistakes. Kim made mistakes too, I'm sure. I'm sure she wasn't the best.
She made more mistakes.
Yeah, she made a lot of them. But I was glad to hear that from him. And he's like, well, I can't change the past. I can just be a better person.
Right.
I've been seeing a lot of people on Reddit trashing Barry and being like, why are people believing Barry's turnaround story and all this stuff? Like, he's not changed. He's a terrible person. He's a creep. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's kind of creepy. He's a C-3PO robot human. But people can change. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Barry. I think he's actually growing from the divorce in the way that he can. And he's trying to be a better father for his kids. So can we really fucking fault him for that and think he's terrible for that?
Yeah, no, I think that it's good. He even tells Ethan, he's like, my thing is I want to focus on my kids.
Yeah.
I want to be here for you, Ethan. I want to be here for all of my children. That's where I feel like I need to be right now. And maybe Barry wasn't that way through their childhood, but that doesn't mean that he can't be that way now.
Right.
And I think he's demonstrating change. It's not like he's talking change like Kim.
Right.
He's actually modeling change and showing the kids that he cares. And I think that's going to go a lot farther. So I am Team Barry. I do believe it. And I do actually think that although he has some fundamental problems with Olivia, that he wants Ethan and Olivia to make it.
Yes.
And he wants to be there for them and help in any way that he can. Yeah. I feel he's sincere in that. Like, I don't know that Kim would be so sincere, for example.
No. And I was glad to hear that from him too, because that was Ethan's primary concern. He's like, well, Olivia thinks that you guys don't want us to be together. And Barry's like, that's not true. Like, there's some toxic things. There's some things that can be worked on, but I love you guys together. Right. I think you're a good couple and we want you to stay together. We're glad that you're married.
Right.
And I think that's true.
Yeah. He's as we say in Hawaii, he's pono. He's solid.
Yeah.
He's grounded.
Yeah.
And I like his perspective a lot.
Me too.
This segment ends with Ethan telling Barry that Olivia thinks that they, being Barry, Kim, and all the kids, don't want Ethan and Olivia to be together. And it's kind of a statement, but it's also a query. Like, he's wondering, like, is that true? But then we are left on that cliffhanger because after that, we bop on over to Florence, Italy, where we find Olivia living her best life, honey. I want to count the coins so badly.
Me too.
Where do you get the money? I mean, maybe from your photography business, but I mean, really?
I know.
Bopping over to St. Lucia, bopping over to Florence, Italy, because I'm working on a writing project.
Girl, whatever.
Are you writing Mary Brown's tell-all book?
Dude, you know she's going to write a book about leaving this family
and about fundamentalism, IBLP.
Yep.
She's going to capitalize on it. Yep.
Oh, she's going to spill some shit in there too. I think she's going to talk shit about the Plaths.
Oh.
I would not be fucking surprised, especially now that she's divorced.
Would love to read it.
Girl, we gotta read it.
We will read it.
I just don't want to give her money. That's the thing. I'm just like, I don't want to support a person like that, but I'll read her book.
I mean, I don't want to pirate it because that's against the law, Beatrice, and I would never recommend that we do that.
I'll pay the $20 for it.
Thank you. We watch her as she roams around Florence, Italy, in cafes, in museums.
She looks beautiful.
Her outfit's terrible.
Yeah.
When did we start wearing high-waisted, elastic waist, thick elastic waist? I'm just like...
The 90s are back.
I guess so. I'm like, oh, but whatever. She's beautiful. And she's in Italy, honey. You know, all those Italian men. Ooh, they love them a pretty lady.
Girl, she's on Italian Tinder right now. She don't give no fuck. And she's like, to the best of my knowledge, Ethan's in LA or something. I don't know. I don't care.
Right.
Like, okay, so you don't give a shit what Ethan's actually doing. So this whole like, I need him to communicate. I need him to tell me where he's at. And like, no, he's okay and everything. You don't give a shit. You're in another country and you're
flirting with guys. You're having wine and pasta with your friends who probably all have dicks. You're writing your book and you can't control him. So in response to him going to Cairo and bringing Micah back, and in response to him making the decision to go be with his family in California, you're like, peace out. I'm a jet setter. I'm going to Italy to just do me.
Wild.
At this point, I think she's over it. I think she knows that divorce is imminent. Yep. She does reflect on the last conversation they had in the kitchen. It was a hard conversation. She talks a little bit about how that there are a couple of things that they could do. The first thing would require work. Like, and for them to make some changes, but that she doesn't see that that's going to be something that maybe Ethan wants to do, which is the implication. I'd be willing, but he doesn't love me like that because I'm a liberal.
Okay, whatever.
And the other choice is divorce. And she thinks Ethan doesn't want to ask for it. And he's pulling a Cody Brown and just alienating her and making her feel terrible, like she'd be a terrible mom, so that she initiates the divorce.
She just doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy and initiate the divorce. Like, he doesn't want to initiate the divorce because he still wants to be married to you, and he still wants to actually work on this marriage. And he has the capability of self-reflection and understands he hasn't been the best communicator. But at the same time, nothing he does or will ever do will ever satisfy Olivia and her needs. She's always going to move the goalposts. She's always going to change her mind about something. She's always going to be mad about him at him about something or the other. So it's never going to work. So for her to be like, it's Ethan, he doesn't want to say that we should get divorced.
Or it's Ethan, he doesn't want to do a little more work to make it work. She's trying to paint herself as a victim, and she's not a victim. She's the one who, I think, I don't know about orchestrated, but brought this all into being.
Oh, for sure.
And when the family finally rebelled and started calling her on her bullshit, that's when she made Ethan choose. They had to relocate, and then promptly within, I don't know, weeks, she's dumping him.
Oh, for sure. In last episode, when their big fight and everything, she told him to go get therapy.
Right.
He's like, can we talk more? Like, can I just try to understand you more? I don't know. If you can't understand, just go get therapy.
Go talk to somebody else. Pay for it. I don't want to sit here and listen to you. My husband. I think she's a terrible person.
She really
But
is.
she's also a young person, and she's got a lot to learn. And so we have a little bit of hope for her. Well, I do as an older person. You're over her. You're like, oh,
I mean, her brain's not fully developed yet either. She's not 25. Well, and last episode, she's crying because Ethan told her he didn't want to have kids with her. But then this episode, she's like, I can't have kids with him.
Right.
I can't do that.
And that's probably the real problem.
Yes.
After this, we go back to Los Angeles. And again, Ethan said that Olivia thinks that the family doesn't want us to be together. And this is where Barry assures Ethan, absolutely not. As we discussed, we're very supportive and I just want to be here for you. And then Ethan says that Barry's support is an immeasurable positive.
Yeah.
Which then makes me kind of believe that he's not as dumb as I thought he was, because when he's sitting on the couch and giving his feedback, he's so eloquent and he uses multisyllabic words.
I know.
Like, okay, Ethan, showing up with the words.
He has the capacity to actually feel and communicate those feelings. It's just he's been stuck with Olivia this whole entire time.
Right. Taking care of her feelings. This is when Barry says that Ethan can call or talk anytime. He's going to be there for him.
That's sweet.
Then dinner's ready and they're eating. And this is when Micah tells Ethan, hey, by the way, Mariah, who's like a worldwide phenomenon. She's a singer. She's currently recording a song called Circus. She happens to be in town in LA because she's networking with other musicians and studios and labels and stuff. And so I thought it would be cool if maybe she came by us tomorrow.
Yeah, would that be all right, Ethan?
Ethan's face turns tomato red.
Oh my God, he's immediately like, are you fucking kidding me? I
He's
just wanted to
annoyed.
have a night with my bros.
Right. So we don't really know what Ethan ultimately says because they kind of cut it right there.
Yeah.
And they come back and it's the next day. And Mariah is on her way. Before she gets there, though, we learn that Ethan actually sent a picture to Olivia. I think he took a picture, I don't know, of the beach or something like that. And it reminded him of her. So he sent it to her in Italy and she left him on red, honey.
Girl, she
Did
don't
not
want to hear
respond.
nothing.
Nope.
It's
She's
really
over
sad.
It. Mm-hmm.
I think he really does love her, and he's been trying.
Well, I think he wants to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's been trying, but on the couch and regarding Olivia, Ethan does say that no amount of superficial traits can make up for one critical disagreement. I'm like, here we go again with the
Wow.
big galaxy brain, Ethan.
I know.
No wonder I let you touch my boob. That was an uncensored part. Sorry. But so I really thought that was very insightful
Yeah.
and astute. And so no matter how much other great things you bring to the table, like your
pussy.
breakdancing pussy, sorry, that's Robin Brown. If we still disagree in these core values, then there's nothing to be said for it.
Right.
There's nothing to be done about it.
I do appreciate that he stands true to his values and doesn't let Olivia try to manipulate him into changing or being something that he doesn't necessarily want to be. I do respect that. And I respect Olivia too for not wanting to like budge and go back into this fundy bullshit, you know? But I'm just like, there's nothing that can be done to save this.
Right.
Like sex is not going to save it.
And I think Olivia's already out. And I do think the next episode that we get, which is episode 14, is going to be the season finale.
That's what I was
And
thinking
I think
too.
it's going to be the decision for them to break up.
Can't wait.
After we learned this, Mariah arrives at the Airbnb. Now, she hasn't talked to Ethan in 9 months, honey, almost
know.
a year. Ethan is annoyed that she's coming. He just wanted a stress-free, drama-free weekend with
the
his
bros.
bros. But here comes Mariah in her Elvira vampire garb to ruin the vibe, honey. To sing about a circus or something.
Oh my God. And
Jesus.
she shows up and she's like acting cordial. She's like trying to talk with Ethan, and Ethan's just like staring at her, stone faced, not reacting to anything that she's saying. And she just feels like she's unwanted and not welcome there.
You
I'm
are.
like, well, girl, you knew Ethan was there.
You know he's mad.
I mean, you've had him blocked this whole entire time.
You refuse to apologize
yeah.
for the things that you have done.
You wanted him to apologize.
You're passive aggressive, sending him a text. I forgive you. I love you. And when he asks you what he has to be forgiven for, you just block him again. So yeah, he's not going to be fake with you.
No.
You roll on up with your suitcase and you're like, hi, Ethan. It's nice to see you. And he's
Hey.
like, what are you talking about?
Like, come
You
on.
act like you fucking hate me.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Let's go talk together. And so that's when they break off and they go to somewhere on the beach or something, and they go and talk together, and he kind of confronts her
Yeah.
about their tiff.
Yes. And so I think they cover a few things. They cover Mariah leaving early and not telling anybody. And then they cover the social media post,
Kind of.
sort of, and ultimately her feelings about Olivia. And we start with the lease. And Ethan brings up like, well, why did you just leave and you didn't say anything?
Yeah. And she's like, I left at the end of the lease. There was 20 days left on the lease, and I already paid for that month, which she did in her little handwritten note. She gave the rest of the rent for that month and left.
But she still owed bills.
Well, that's what Ethan's saying, but he said she owed rent money.
Yeah. So there's a difference of opinion. So she thought that she was just going to stay to the end of the lease, whereas Ethan said that they all discussed that they were going to stay through September, which
Not
I guess
in writing.
is a month beyond the lease. It's not in writing. And Ethan even says, well, I guess I'm just going to give her the benefit of the doubt that was our disagreement.
Well, and I mean, knowing that Ethan's a bad communicator, I wouldn't put it past him if
Right.
he didn't clearly communicate and state to her, like, look, you need to stay until the end of September or pay me the rest of the rent if you're going to leave.
Right.
I don't think he really had that conversation with her.
No.
I think he expects people to kind of know what he means when he says things.
Right.
I think that's why he's such a poor communicator, because he just doesn't take the time to explain it to people in a way that is digestible to them.
Correct. Now, but that does not negate how she handled it, because she's like,
Yeah.
I had a puppy, Blackjack, and I had been sending y'all texts while you guys were traveling. Nobody responded to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, you to come back and us to pretend that everything was okay. So I thought, for my own mental health, it's a circus out here. For my own mental health, I feel like I have to leave early and block you, Ethan. And so she explains it. I don't think he likes it.
No, but he's giving her the benefit of the doubt because she is his sister.
On that alone.
That's it.
Then Ethan brings up the social media post, and Mariah starts talking around it. She doesn't address the post in particular, which I really just wish before the season ended, number one, we'd understand what the fuck happened with the credit card and Ethan. And number two, I really wish somebody would talk about Kim's DUI.
Please.
Come on, people. It's really glaring and unfortunate and unfair to the people who are watching this show. So instead of talking about the social media post and the credit card bullshit, Mariah starts talking about how she hated herself for not speaking up for her family.
Dramatic.
She felt that she was scared to say anything because she knew the fallout, which ultimately did happen. There was a big fallout as soon as she asserted herself, which Ethan kind of agrees.
Yeah.
He's sitting there. He's like, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
She also said that she sacrificed who she was, and she finally had to ask herself, why was she doing this to her family?
Yeah.
And this is where Ethan's like, yeah, but how does this involve Olivia? Why is this centered around Olivia?
Yeah.
And Mariah says, I think we all know. And that's where we leave this episode.
Cliffhanger. So we'll get into the meat of this conversation in the season finale. And it sounds like Mariah's going to talk more about it and talk more about Olivia's toxic influence on the family, especially the older kids, and how they realize that that was bad and they've changed their perspectives. So that'll be interesting to see how Ethan reacts to that.
I don't think he's going to like it.
I think he's only seeing shit from Olivia's perspective, but then again, they're about to divorce.
Yes.
And he has been getting fed up with her bullshit, as we've seen in this season. He's tired of Olivia and all of the drama because it all centers around Olivia and her actions. So,
but Mariah's dramalicious too, and
Well,
Ethan has every right to be upset with the way that she conducted herself.
Yeah.
She wanted to be independent and wanted to be an adult. Well, bitch, act like an adult. Say goodbye. Let us know you're leaving. Pay your bills before you leave. And don't block me because I have an issue with a social media post. Like, if I'm calling you to talk to you about this post you put up about my wife, like, have the decency to actually have the conversation. Then again, Ethan, you can't be yelling at her the entire time.
Right.
Like you're her father, which you're not. She is an adult. And so these people have to redefine their relationship. He doesn't get to just be the bully. She doesn't get to just be the simpering, well, I was scared. We don't do that anymore. We're adults now. We have to learn how to open our mouths and talk, which every single Plath has a problem doing except for Micah
and like
Amber.
Why can't a fucking Plath just say it was wrong of Olivia to bring this topic up on national TV where nobody got to see it until it was aired and edited in? That was not cool. And so, we're going to make a public social media post as payback, essentially, because Olivia's a lying hoe or whatever.
Right.
Like, they can't clearly state that. They're just going around it and being like, well, she's toxic. Oh, well, she's bad. Well, I wanted to speak my piece.
I paid my lease. Like, it's not really about that.
No.
Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Right.
So the preview for next week, we have Kim going over to the Plath house and sitting in the living room with Barry and the kids and starting to argue about a Lionel train set and also the division of assets. So it's coming down to who gets what, who gets the furniture, who gets the houses, who gets this amount in the bank account.
Yes.
And they're arguing about this train because Barry remembers things differently and it doesn't sound like he wants to roll over on the Lionel train set, girl.
Yeah.
Then we get to Ethan telling Mariah that she had problems with Kim well before Olivia came into the picture. And that is actually why Olivia and Mariah bonded. It's not like Olivia came into the picture and all of a sudden you began to fabricate offenses against Kim. You felt this way before. And that's actually why you bonded, which I thought was a really good point.
Yeah, but I don't like Ethan being like, well, I'm the older brother, so I know what happened. And your reality is different because Mariah was also a teenager. Like, I don't know about you, but I had problems with my mom as a teenager too. I feel like that's a natural thing. You're going to argue with your parents when you're a teen. So yeah, she may have had problems, but was it appropriate for Olivia to exacerbate them?
Which is what kind of Mariah says. She responds by saying that Olivia influenced her. Like, so she took sort of a situation that was happening, which, as you're saying, is pretty normal.
Yeah.
And she influenced her and made it worse. And then Ethan's like, yeah, but it sounds like you blame Olivia solely, which I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah.
And finally, we see Ethan on the couch saying that his relationship with Olivia could be saved if they went back to their core values. And Olivia saying, yeah, well, those values are created to serve men and the patriarchy.
I'm like,
down with the patriarchy. She's like, so fuck no, I'm not going to do that.
but I'm like, is he talking about his religious values, or is he talking about their roots in terms of their marriage? Like what they were when they were young and in love and they both were trying.
I don't know. It sounds like it's in the context of having a conversation about the religious stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'll be there, honey.
Yes.
I'll be there watching on Tuesday night because
Girl.
I've been enjoying this Plathville season. I'm sorry to see it go. Meanwhile, did you hear that Sister Wives we've got 4 tell-alls. We've been through one. After the tell-alls, there's like 4 more weeks
Yeah.
of like something called Talking Back.
I know. What is that?
And like there's 4 more weeks of some sort of content. And then after the 4 weeks with Sister Wives is Christine's wedding special.
I know.
2 weeks of a wedding special. So I think we've got Sister Wives content, raccoons,
through January. Yes, bitch.
I'm excited.
Me too.
We are eating good in the dumpster, baby.
Get that over here.
Awesome.